Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Cowboy Bob here. Okay, never mind. It's the CC and JT Amateur Hour where production values go to die. That over there, CC.
And that's JT.
Yeah. Are we adorable today? I think we're adorable today. If you're new to our experience, what it is we are a couple of self-published writers, a couple of independent writers, and what we do is for hundreds of podcasts now, our award-winning podcast for writers helps writers write. That's our mission, to help writers write. And, you know, we don't have a lot of production values. We don't have a lot of glitz or fireworks or anything like that. We tried the specialized microphones, and we tried, studios and, things like that, and it's just, we're just going to sit down and have some coffee with you. and we like that more than people who spend hundreds of dollars, with their setups and their neon and their everything.
Oh, we do have our little sign that I haven't turned on.
Yeah. No, we need a couple things we need to caveat here before we dive in. Our area is getting aftershocks from a 5.7 earthquake that occurred earlier this week. We just had an aftershock, and I'm looking at my screen right here, and we just now had two 3.9s and two 4.0s all back to back. Boom, 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 boom. So if we start shaking and rattling and rolling, it actually won't be the first time that's happened. We've done podcasts before.
During an earthquake.
Nevada is our home state, Carson City specifically. And Nevada has the most named mountain ranges in the United States. I think even more than Alaska, which I think is surprising. But Nevada's incredibly mountainous, and sometimes those mountains will take a step to the left, and then to move to the right.
They put their hands on their hips.
Okay.
But we are in the basin and range area, so we have a lot of north-south mountains, and we are along the edge of the Pacific Plate of tectonic activity. So California gets a lot of shakes, but so does Nevada.
Yeah, we get our fair share. And the shakes in Nevada, for example, that 5.7 was felt in San Francisco, which is about 300 miles. Well, not so much 300 miles away, but maybe.
It's over 200, I would say.
They'll go with over 200. So, and that's normal business, by the way, in geology. That's just that's another day at the office. So, anyway, so just to give you a warning, it's kind of fun. But I tell you, during that 5.7, I was about 2 seconds from yelling at CC, get under the table.
I should say that I was out in the sunroom in the back of our house, and I was recording my daily video for YouTube. And I had just turned off record, and then I will sometimes do a photo to use as my thumbnail. And I was taking my camera down, and all of a sudden my wind chimes started going, and I remembered that I didn't have any windows open. And if the house shakes, the sunroom actually shakes a lot more because it's not the same foundation. Yeah. So it was a wild ride.
Yeah, it was. It had just ended. I was just getting up and about to say, table. So if you are living in a similar area, please take a moment to review your earthquake emergency procedures. And that's our PSA for today. We have such an important topic today. So we're going to fly through current events. We're not going to dwell or belabor on them because this subject is so important and scams pointed at writers. So we're going to fly through our updates, and I should preface this by saying we've got like 4 or 5 books coming out this year. Why? Because we're stupid.
It just worked out that way.
The biggest headache I'm having right now, which is ironic, is I have so many books I want to write, and there's not
physically enough time to write everything we want to write, which is why maybe we have so many books in the works right now.
Yeah, it's like I've got 3 manuscripts I could be working on all at once right now that are open and they're live. And I don't mean to sound like that complaint, but I have 3 or 4 more that I could be working on that I really want to.
Oh yeah.
And it's
at least.
This sleep thing, what a pain in the ass. Update.
So, Restless Spirits, Book 2 is back with Red Adept. Thank you guys. I am on my line edit now. I got it back from the beta edit and did all those changes and sent it back. So now I'm currently back to drafting, my fast drafting of Battleborn Bride, my young adult historical, which will be coming out in October. That is scheduled to go to Red Adept by May 13th. So I have to get myself in gear and get that done.
Woof.
Woof.
My sequel to the Finding Salvation book that I released earlier this year. This is Serving Salvation, which is the 3-book series, but there's the Finding Salvation book that and I understand from Jennifer. Good morning, Jennifer. That she's really enjoying reading this right now. That's a hint, people. But the sequel to that is at Red Adept right now. And for those that enjoy the Sheriff in Nevada series, I'm sorry, that's the 3rd one that I'm not working on right now. But the one in between is I'm working on what I think is a fairly significant book, and I'm not sure it's going in the direction I want. I've passed 41,000 words on it, but in a month. But I'm thinking I don't know if it's going to survive in this format. I may take it apart because that's what we do, and that's an important clue, by the way, for writers. The first draft is just the framework, the framework of the house, 2x4s, no roof, no basement, just a little bit of foundation here and there, and you can tear it down and start it all over again, which I'm resistant to because there's some good elements in this thing, but I'm just giving terrycase.com, I'm giving terrycase.com a heads up that this one, I don't know how we're going to handle this one. She's my super fantastic editor. She should be your super fantastic editor. And so we're going to be chatting about this one. This one's going to be an interesting challenge. And Terry, you're going to get it here maybe, I don't know, next month or the month after. I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
But JT brought up a great point that in Restless Spirits book 2, the draft that I sent to my beta readers is not the draft that's going through line edits right now, because I made some substantial, it was painful, but I had to take out some parts of the story that just didn't work and rewrite them. So don't be afraid to rework your manuscript, because people, especially after you've had beta readers, it's really good to see what's not working before you get too far into the process.
Yeah, we did a podcast early on, and it's still extremely popular. And I apologize, I can't remember his name. And I think one of the things, he did a list of how to write fiction, and one of those things is if it doesn't help the story, take it out.
Right.
And sometimes we fall in love with our writing, just like somebody in this room likes to fall in love with the sound of his voice. So it's easy to get caught up in stuff, and I know I've given my editors and beta readers sort of the what the heck is this doing here moment.
So we're busy.
Okay. As for appearances, we're just going to mention the one because they're all after that, and we'll talk about them more as we get there. But on Mother's Day, which is May 11th,
I think it's the 10th.
Whatever that Sunday is on that weekend, we are going to be at the Carson Mall watching people go by, saying hi and hopefully having a chat, and
We're hoping not.
Yeah, we're hoping that there are book sales, but
if nothing else, we're going to have some fun little giveaway items. So if you happen to be in Carson City and you're wandering around the Carson Mall on Mother's Day, we're doing it on Sunday.
Yep.
Then stop by and we'll have a little giveaway bag.
Yeah, and the less said about our previous book sales is...
Well, okay, so our last event was incredibly disappointing in some ways, but we did find out that we had sold books. It's just not while we were there. And we are selling books actually that are not happening at events. So people who are distant from us that we don't know are buying our books. So yes, it can be disappointing, but we are seeing positive progress. Somebody's a little down right now. So if you want to buy his books...
I'm trying not to think about it because as the CFO, I see the profit loss report and it's just like, oh my God. Okay.
Actually, that really ties in well to what we're going to be talking about today. So
what a perfect segue.
Yes.
One thing, and love or hate artificial intelligence, and really a lot of people hate it. And in the writing business, there is a loathing for artificial intelligence because of the scraping that has been done of copyrighted books. Speaking of using the word foundation again, one of the big foundations of our business is the fact that if we write it and we put our name on it, it is ours. And court decisions have been falling that way, and big, humongous court settlements have been going that way, none of which would have been necessary if the creators of AI had not scraped the books in the first place and basically, taken illegal action and taken profits away from writers. Now, if it's in the public domain, that's a whole different question. But taking books that are not in the public domain and making them available to people without, involving the writer, without involving the creator, is a big no-no. It's a big legal no-no. It's a big, character no-no. Excuse me. But we know about tech boys and their ethics.
And to add to that, so we had that initial. Everybody's uploading books, like the tech bros are uploading books into their AI to train it. Now people are loading books into AI to find out if they're AI. So books that were not previously in AI are being uploaded into AI programs to determine whether or not they are AI. So it's building on itself.
Yeah, and there's a whole other discussion about there are certain flags in manuscripts that are supposedly supposed to be AI-driven flags, and I got to tell you, folks, you are going to take my M dashes and my colons and my semicolons from my dead cold hands.
And ellipses. I like ellipses.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys.
But we should say that probably the only really good way to determine whether something was written with AI, and really there's only one way, I think, is if there is still a prompt in there. Like they've left it in the brackets. It says something about this character needs to do this now. And it gives you and I will say that authors use that kind of thing when they're first drafting their manuscripts. So it's not 100% accurate, but it is more likely. And probably the other thing is just how rough is the writing. It's, if it doesn't flow like human language. But you can't say with 100% certainty that something is written with AI, even if you use those AI programs that are telling you it's AI, because a lot of people have gotten false positives on those. So be very careful.
And the other thing, of course, is there's more of these books are being trained by AI. AI is getting much, much better. It is getting, like, for videos are becoming nearly impossible to tell from humans because they're just so good. And I mean good in a presentation kind of way. But let's talk.
But that's not the subject we're discussing today.
The subject, and using AI, as CC said, to assist with ideas and things like that is, in my opinion, and I know that some writer people are going to disagree, is okay up to a point, for viability and just to see how it looks on the screen, as long as it's very, very limited and there's no copy and paste. Writing should be human-driven, and with that, we do human-driven books.
Okay, there is a caveat to that, though, because I wasn't even thinking about this until just recently, but if you do a Google search on a topic, and I think it's true of any search engine you might be using. There may be some out there that don't, but I think most of them are now AI-driven. So you will first get an AI suggestion at the top of your search results. So we do not go out of our way to use AI, but we do searches on occasion just to kind of help us figure out the details that we're including in our books. We may end up actually using AI information that was pulled up by AI that wasn't intentional, but you can't really do a search without it now.
And that's exactly it. And it's going to become more and more intertwined with our lives, whether we like it or not. And I know there are people that absolutely loathe it, but it's, as time goes by, it's going to become a normal part of our lives, whether we acknowledge it or not, and the impact and so on and so forth.
But that's not the topic.
That's not, we keep, obviously this has turned into a rant rage, and we're not going to do this, but we're going to talk about scams. And the thing that AI has brought to scams is that the AI has become a great assistant in scamming.
Yes.
Especially in describing our books. go out to AI. I've got Google up here. We're going to be using this Google search to describe what we're about to describe. But if you use whatever Google's AI is called,
who knows? I don't even keep up with it.
To describe, for example, a sheriff of Nevada, it gives a very good synopsis. And this synopsis is then copy and pasted over to an email and is sent to me to say, hey, JT. Mm-hmm. And the emails are getting better and better, and it's getting harder and harder. So Cece gets so many more than I do.
Multiples per day sometimes.
And so we're going to talk about scams and the types of scams and it's just, and their sophistication. Now, scams generally, and I'm pulling up this list here, scams appear to fall into 4 mega categories. Either impersonating and phishing, trying to get that, get you to
information,
jump in. Upfront fee scams, and we're going to talk about book clubs, because I think that's where we're going to find book clubs.
Maybe.
Marketing, PR, and review scams, which could also be book clubs. And then the freelance writing scams, and I haven't seen many of those.
I have not seen any of those yet.
Yeah. But impersonation and phishing scams, Stephen King, Uncle Steve, Uncle Steve.
He likes my work.
Yeah, Uncle Steve wants books. And I bet Uncle Steve doesn't even know that.
Well, the thing is that these emails come in, and it's normally, I didn't click on any links or anything, but the first time I was contacted, it was actually a direct message. It wasn't an email. It was a direct message on like Facebook or something. And someone reached out and they said they were an author, but it wasn't an author that I recognized, like a well-known one. So I wasn't immediately suspicious. And they said that, I'm an author. I've noticed that you're also in the same kind of level. We're at the same level. And it's nice to chat with other authors about, the challenges we're facing, basically. And again, I did not click on any links because I learned long ago that that's always a bad idea. If you get something you're not sure, do a search and
Okay, now you've got to the end of our podcast already.
Sorry. Anyway, but it's like the person that contacted me, I was like, this almost seems like it could be a real person because it wasn't Stephen King. So that's how they get you, is if they come to you with somebody you don't recognize and it looks like it could be legitimate.
Yeah.
The Stephen Kings, the Keanu Reeves, all of those people, there's anybody who's on social media, you don't have to be a writer.
Yeah.
You have generals, you have actors like Keanu Reeves or Tom Cruise or somebody will follow you. And then you look at the account and it's, Keanu Reeves 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Stephen King email, I was just like, thanks, Uncle Steve, right?
Yeah, really. And it's not just, and this is where it gets really good, is not just people, but it's organization, private companies that you would think that that you want your book to appear.
Right.
Maybe one of the big publishing companies, or not even one of the big publishing companies, and they said, I've read your book, blah, 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 and we are interested. We are soliciting you for a submission and a submission fee. There's the bottom line, folks. If somebody's asking you to pay to do a submission, that's a hint.
No, don't do it.
And there's also the emails that you might get from Amazon or your other online publishers who say, hey, in order to keep your book there. Now, the subject of online platforms starting to charge fees, legitimate platforms, legitimate fees, that's a subject for the future. But for now, many of these platforms do not.
Right.
And so that's something else. The next category are the upfront fee scams. And
basically, most of these are going to be upfront fees in some way, because if you do click on the link, which unfortunately, then you're in trouble. But if you do respond to these in some way, you're going to find out that in most of these categories, they will want money.
Yeah, but the one that I think resonates with most writers is somebody representing a movie company or a TV company or a film company, because I think if you scratch every single writer in the world, and I know that's generalizing, that hasn't been to this big screen yet, you'll know that they want to see their stuff on the big screen. And so it's a real hunger, a real desire to see your characters and your name up on the big screen. So when you hear from Hollywood or Bollywood or some other, film area, these folks will say, hey, I am an agent, or I work on behalf of a film studio, and we are interested, again, asking for money for submission. And that's getting right to the roots of a writer. That one is like your hand almost jerks and goes, oh God, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. The next one is the one I think is the most common one.
Yep.
I think the one that's common, it's marketing, public relations, and review scams.
Yep.
Where we mentioned book clubs a moment ago. People will say that they're part of a large book club.
2,000 readers.
Yeah, thousands of readers, like in England,
yes.
which sounds
Australia,
which sounds so literary.
Yes.
Or Washington State, I think, is the most famous one. We got we got nailed by Pakistan the other day.
Yes.
We got nailed by Pakistan. Between our website stats, and WordPress allows you to see the part of the world they come from. Somebody from Pakistan clicked on some links in our website, and then almost immediately afterwards, we got a book scam email.
Now, we don't have any verified proof that this was related, but it was so close together that it couldn't have been coincidental.
Yeah, the timing was just right there. So if you're watching from Karachi,
we see you.
We see you. And there's, and then there's this publishing house, I think, that was mentioned in England that offered to do an article on us.
Oh, yes.
It did an article on us, which was nice. Hey, that's cool. But then they said, oh, by the way, if you want wider coverage, or if you want this, that, or the other thing, there's a graduated expense thing. And of course, we said no because, no.
We can't afford it. But I will say they did post the article. It's just if you paid money, they would actually promote the article. So, and then you could get it in their actually physical version of the magazine, that kind of thing. So that is a very common one. And I will say that if you feel like responding to those kinds, and the difference with those is that they're mostly, it's almost like a multi-level marketing thing, because they will contact one author and then they'll have that author say, hey, these people would be good for your story. So it's like they're passing it around. But back to my original point is that they actually did post it. It does come up in searches now, so we didn't pay anything. Right. But it is out there.
And that doesn't really technically is not a scam.
No.
Because they followed through and they did everything. And if I meant to imply that was a scam, I did not mean to do so. That was a legitimate business doing that. But that's an example of what can happen when people get these emails and they're so marketing sucks for everybody.
So bad.
And so when you get this kind of unsolicited help for assistance, it's really tempting. The last category we haven't gotten yet, but it's probably coming. Yeah, it's probably coming. Folks that are claiming that we plagiarized other sources. I think they're plagiarizing me, but that's another thing. Or somebody saying, hey, if you help with the writing of this, we will pay you. And then they just take your work and run out the door, and you never see a dime. All for the value of exposure. Well, exposure don't pay the rent.
The other thing about plagiarization at this point is that, we mentioned scraping books for AI. So if people are generating AI books, which is happening, it is plagiarism, because it may lift actual passages from somebody's book and throw them into somebody else's book. So that's going to become another challenge, is someone directly plagiarizing, or are they plagiarizing using AI? It's going to be kind of a subcategory, I think.
So how do you know that you have received a scam email? Like I said, we have an example of a legitimate one.
Yeah.
So how do you know if it's a scam email? And my rule, and this is something that only old people will remember, that will only old people live by, if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. If it sounds like it's too good to be true, then it is. These things that come out of that fall out of the sky, that are miracle cures, that will take care of your rheumatism or your lumbago or your terrible marketing practices for your books, if they fall out of the sky out of you and just drop on you and say, we are going to solve all your problems for a small fee, it's a scam.
It's not going to be a small fee. And you mentioned large publishing houses and Hollywood/Bollywood.
Yeah.
If somebody wants your work, they're not going to contact you directly. Most of those companies will not deal with an author directly. They want to go through your agent.
Yeah.
So if somebody is contacting you directly from a large publishing house or from Hollywood, and they're not saying, hey, we're interested, do you have an agent? I think that's a big red flag right there. That now most of us who are independently published don't have agents. I mean, there may be some who do, but most of us don't. And I think if you are being contacted directly by somebody like that, that's just generally a red flag, because they're not going to talk to you. They want to talk to your agent and keep everything legal and legitimate.
Right. So, things that fall out of the sky that are too good to be true are really too good to be true. Mm-hmm. So, hesitate, stop, don't click.
Right.
Just hesitate, stop, don't click.
Right.
Anything in the email.
Never.
Because you're going to make your life miserable. And there are millions of stories out on the internet where you can find out, move the email over here, open another browser over here, and do the research. Mm-hmm. Do the research, independent research. And even then, be careful, because, man, we got one from, we got one from, I don't remember. We got one from a publishing house that was really good.
Oh, right. And a good way to make sure that it is what you think it is, like it's the real thing, is that and this is something that JT even pointed out, is that look at the return email. Mm-hmm. Because it was I think a Gmail account.
Here it is. I found it. But yes, that's an excellent point about the email. Not to cut you off there, but the email, if it's Stephen King at gmail.com, I'm sorry, people.
Probably not Steve.
It's probably not Steve. If anything, he's probably got a very secret email from his publishing house or his agent's server or something like that, and you don't know it.
Right.
I got an excellent email from excellent. Yeah. I got a quality email from nomadicauthors.com, and I'll put this up on the blog post as what I think is an example of I'm pretty sure it's a scam, but they were just saying, hey, this is the one for Pakistan, actually. Right. This is Nomadic Authors.
I think there was actually a couple from at about the same time. I got one and JT got one.
Yeah, but the server had been created the day before. Literally, the IP had been created the day before we got the emails. If you go out to this website, which I did independently, not clicking anything, it's a good website, but it clearly is an off-the-shelf product that that they just unboxed like right there.
Well, I did a little research on my own, and I found out that there is a group called Nomadic Authors. Mm-hmm. And basically they are people who are freelance writers, and they live a nomadic lifestyle. And I guess they have an organization. So they took the name of a legitimate group, and I think there was also a Nomadic Press, which has since shuttered. So you may find real versions of the people who are contacting you, but you still have to be careful.
Yeah, and in that case, I may not put this on the blog post, but my point being is that these attacks are getting more and more sophisticated, and I do call them attacks for a reason. But again, if you are getting these emails, and God knows probably all writers get these emails, stop, hesitate, stop, and research. If you have been a writer for any period of time, other writers, reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on here? Have you heard of these guys? Have you gotten these things? Yeah. And this is probably the chanciest thing I'm going to say, but if you've been a victim of one of these things, put your story out there so the rest of us can learn. Because it's hard. Well,
and it can come down to, you may lose your life savings, because if you provide them your financial information, heaven forbid you give them like a credit card or something, it can be very hard to, you do have some protections, you can put stop holds and things like that, but they may get the money before you get around to doing that. By the time you figure out it's a problem, it may be too late. Yeah. So be very, very careful. Never click on anything.
Yeah, and please don't be a silent victim too, because if you let them get away with it, then you're just setting them up for more success, and they're going to go after the rest of us. So again, just to recap real quick: impersonation and phishing scams, upfront fee scams, marketing, PR, review scams, and freelance writing scams. They are getting sophisticated. They are getting complex, and the way that you are your best protection from these scams. Hesitate, stop, and research independently. And for the love of God, don't click anything in the email.
And it's not just emails. Like I said, I get direct messages, so there are protections on some of the social media sites where they allow direct messages, where they will put it in a scam folder if they get the idea that this is what's happening, but some of them still get through. So definitely be very careful about anybody who contacts you out of the blue through any format. Even, cell phones. I mean, you can get text messages. Don't click on the links there either. Just be very careful. Take a step back. If something is legitimate, it's not usually going to be that time sensitive, because usually the other hallmark of these is that they want it right now.
Yeah, they've got some urgency saying, hey, we have an open slot that's only going to be open for a couple of days. So if you send us money right now.
That's one of the biggest red flags right there. And there is somebody that I follow on social media, and I don't recommend doing this, but they did it for reasons that they actually responded to one of these scam things. He had actually published a book recently, got a scam message, and decided to go back and forth to see what would happen. And they became more and more desperate because he was dragging them along.
The sender was becoming more and more desperate.
The sender was becoming more and more desperate because the author was dragging him along, knew exactly what was going on, and was doing it to prove a point.
Right.
And they just kept saying, send us the money now. And it just got more and more tense. And then they're like, the author was like, I know you're not real, you're not legitimate, you're not getting a thing from me. So, yeah, people do respond to them, but for most of us, don't do that.
Okay, so I'm a member of the Authors Guild, and they are big on human authored. That is one of their big things, and they have an entire page on publishing scam alerts. And so I'll put a link in there, a link in the blog post, and for you to read, go over. And I do recommend joining the Authors Guild if you have the money. It is not cheap, but especially if you're an independent writer. Flip side is you get lots of access to all sorts of services, including access to lawyers, which and you don't have to pay extra. So having that kind of access, right, is for an independent writer is pretty awesome. And they are the tip of the spear on pushing back on AI scraping companies. So I recommend joining the Authors Guild. Thank you again, Terry. And I will include this link for your own research purposes. But really, you don't have to, as long as you hesitate, stop, and research. I keep saying that.
Well, and JT's other point about contacting other writers, because most of us know other people who are writing, definitely talk to other people and find out if they've gotten maybe the exact same message. And it is more than likely that will be the case, and you'll all know. And then you're spreading the word among each other to be more careful. And just basically the best thing to do is stop, research, and then, most often you're just going to delete it.
And, they're preying on us, folks.
Yep.
They're preying on our feelings. And I said this earlier, preying on our feelings because many of us, more than 90% of us are struggling with this monster called marketing. Getting that one blog post, getting that one social media post that takes off and just makes us look so good and, we become famous in a day. We're on the 15-year overnight success plan. And we are so desperate for that exposure. And so when we see these emails that are so good, they are so complex and they're so sophisticated, and they're engineered to speak to this desperation that we have. And it's like, I'm right there with you, and I know Cece is right there too, that we just want to click on these links, even when we know that the improbability, the vast improbability that the only thing that will happen is we will lose money and nothing will come of it. And we empathize. But folks, writing is a career based on hope. Mm-hmm. It's based on the hope that you're going to leave a legacy, based on the hope that you will gain readers who enjoy your works. And Cece and I have those people. Mm-hmm. Morning, Jennifer.
Hi, Lisa.
So we have people, we have this hope that we are making a difference. And scam artists, they want to steal that hope. Don't let them. Hesitate, stop, research. Mm-hmm. Don't let them steal your hope. Don't let them steal that spirit in you that makes you want to be a writer. Because this is one of those things, I'm sorry if you've fallen for this, but this is one of those things that will steal your spirit, steal your energy, mm-hmm. and you don't want these assholes to win.
No, and this isn't new, because going back in time, since we predate all the internet stuff, there are vanity presses out there, and they're still around. And if someone is charging you $10,000, $20,000 to publish your book, that's a scam. Mm-hmm. Yes, they do publish your book. Yes, they do put it out there. They don't help you with marketing. So vanity presses, if you want, there are people maybe who have the money and they just want to see their name in print. That's one thing.
And we know somebody who did that.
We do. Yeah. And, that's fine. But for most of us, that's not the way you want to go. Vanity presses are another scam. They've been around forever. And so it's not new. This has been happening for a very long time. It's just that some people have not been made aware of what's happening yet. It's, they prey on the naive young authors with all those hopes and dreams like, oh my gosh, Hollywood loves my book. I'm going to be the next, whoever.
But why even bother? Have you seen some of the crap coming out of Hollywood?
But the whole point is that they're preying. They know a majority of the people are not going to fall for these, but they only want one or two. Yeah, if they get those one or two people, then they're happy, and then the whole thing may fold, and they've got money, and then they move on.
Yeah, if they get 1 out of 100, that's a success.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think that we've pontificated enough on this subject but we do say, be careful, and you don't have the money to fall for these folks, and you don't let them steal your hope. Just. And if you want to call on us, if you want to drop something in our comments section, is, hey, I got this email from such and such and such.
Yeah.
We'll do the research for you. We are a community of writers. Mm-hmm. We are a community of writers. We lift each other up. When one of us succeeds, we all succeed. Mm-hmm. And we got to have each other's backs against these guys, because honestly, nobody else is going to be out there helping us.
And we should also say is that there are legitimate companies out there that will help you market. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about people that contact you out of the blue. Normally, if it's a legitimate one, you reach out to them. Right. So we're not saying anything against just marketers in general.
Right.
We're talking about the phishing, the fake, we just want your money marketers. Right. So they're not even really marketers. And that's what we're pushing right here, is that we don't want you to fall for those.
Right. Okay. I know it's a tough subject. I know it's hard. Oh God, we want to be successful. We want to be well known. We want the rich and famous contract, but I just want the rich contract and not the famous. Well, you can't in writing. You really can't have one out the other.
You can.
But we've got your back, and we're saying these things for a reason, and we just want to help. So, just be careful.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware. Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about real quick? It seems like we had something else, but I don't remember.
Well, we talked about our upcoming event. We talked about our works in progress. I think we talked about the fact that we decided not to take the trip that we were planning, unfortunately, but we will be taking a smaller one. We'll say, I do want to say though about book clubs, if there are book clubs out there who are legitimate, who want to read our books, they're not going to contact us out of the blue and say, give us money and we'll read your book. They're going to just read your book and say, hey, they'll send you an email saying they enjoyed your book. So there's a difference there. But
anything where people drop say, hey, if you give us XYZ, we'll do ABC, and it's like,
So I think
I think we should let them go.
You talked about Mother's Day. JT is going to be at the Churchill County Library in late May, so we'll be talking about that more as we get closer.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That'll be fun, hopefully maybe we'll be able to do more library visits because I really enjoy libraries.
Yeah, they're really fun. Okay, we're going to let you go. I know, we're just blathering right now, but we don't want to go back to our real life.
Well, we do, but
we do.
And we made it through the podcast without any more aftershocks, so that's something.
That's no fun.
Because we felt one just before we started recording.
Yeah, we had like a 4.2 or 4.3 just before we hit recording. We're saying,
is it going to happen again?
Yeah. Okay. Y'all take care. Y'all be careful. Please be careful. And and if you, like I said, if you'd like a little help, drop something in the comments at our website, and we'll see what we can do. But if you want money, but if you want money, no.
If you want to actually put a comment in our YouTube, under the YouTube of the podcast, also, maybe not for assistance, but if maybe something has happened to you and you want to share it with others, you can also do that in the comments on YouTube. Let's be a community and hold each other up.
Okay, that's enough. We're going away now. That's over there, CC.
That's JT.
We thank you very kindly for your attention, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.